right. Hello, everyone. If you're just joining us, we're going to give everybody a couple minutes here to jump on the Zoom and get comfy, and then we'll get started. So thanks for your patience. Give everybody just about one more minute here, and then we'll get started. All righty. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Alicia Schmidt, and I'm the VP of Member Impact here at Pledge 1%. And I want to welcome you to today's Pledge 1% info session. Before I introduce our guest speaker for today, I just want to go over a few housekeeping items. One, everyone on the call except for the presenters will be muted. So please put any questions into the chat or the QA window, and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation today. You can also follow up with any questions that you might have at members@pledge1%, that's spelled out, .org. And we'll be sending out a recording of this webinar to everyone who registered. So don't worry about taking notes, although I suppose most people these days have your friendly AI apps doing that for you, but you will also get a recording. So just keep that in mind. All right, so one of the best ways to introduce you all to Pledge 1% is to hear from other Pledge members who have taken the pledge, whose companies have taken the pledge. So I'm delighted to welcome our guest speaker for today's session, Natina Gurley, Diversity and Inclusion Engagement Manager at Zuora. Natina's professional joys, I love that, by the way, professional joys include working with people leaders to achieve and advance their inclusion and belonging goals, devising engaging learning and development experience for teams, and embracing the future of work at the virtual water coolers with colleagues. She has over 20 years of experience in diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging strategy, initiatives, and programs. Natina is also a member of our Builders community and is a Pledge 1% community ambassador. Welcome, Natina, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me here. Super excited to be here.
We love having you here, and we're thrilled that Zuora is such an important part of the Pledge 1% movement. As some of you might know, Pledge 1% was founded 10 years ago in 2014 by Salesforce, Atlassian, and Rally, three companies that know firsthand how pledging a small portion of future success today can have an enormous impact tomorrow. In fact, Mark Benioff has famously said, it was easy to pledge 1% time, equity, and profit when Salesforce first started because they had no employees, virtually no equity, and no profit. And obviously that changed over the last 30 years for that company. And hopefully that will change for your companies as well. So over the last 10 years, Pledge 1% has grown to include more than 18,000 members from over 130 countries, and we've ignited over $2.4 billion through equity pledges. Natina, I would love for you to spend a little bit of time and tell us about Zuora's journey with Pledge 1%.
Thank you so much for that. Super excited to talk to you all a little bit about Zuora and what we do. So Zuora took the pledge in 2017. We did the equity pledge, which you'll hear more about. Since 2017, we've built a robust social impact program that's focused on using our time, talent, and resources to strengthen communities around the world. We've been a purpose-driven company from the start. We were born out of a vision that we could evangelize a fundamentally new way of doing business by shifting the focus of companies to deliver reoccurring people-centric services instead of a one-time sale of products. We've never just measured ourselves by that work, by our bottom line or our innovations. We've always measured ourselves by the purpose to do good. And so really really excited to talk to you a little bit about what that looks like at our company. So lots of words here, but I'll just highlight a couple of things. First of all, our social impact program is absolutely powered by our people. And so employees give time, give donations, and through our social impact program, we match those donations of dollars and time. So we are coming off of our inaugural day of service, which has been a really exciting experience. And so events all over across the globe at our offices, virtual, et cetera, lots of really great things that were happening with that, in addition to the things that happen every single day here at Zuora. Our corporate philanthropic grants are related to our focus areas: sustainability, entrepreneurship, and economic opportunity. And so we are really thoughtful around having strong ties in those focus areas and really deepening not only our connection, but also our impact in those spaces. And then we have lots of company-wide campaigns. And so Giving Tuesday is a very big one connected to our Global Day of Service, where our employees can nominate nonprofits and that they work with, that they give, volunteer with. And so they have the opportunity to nominate those, and Zuora provides grants for those. And so really excited for all of the things that we've been able to build, and being a part of Pledge 1% has been a huge maximizer of our efforts. You're on mute. Alicia, you're talking to us.
Thank you so much. I probably would have gone on for an hour there, so thank you. As you've heard in Natina's examples, Zuora has pledged time, product, and equity, which is amazing. But most of our members start small, typically with one or two pledge types. Most people start with the time pledge type or employee volunteering because it's often the quickest and easiest to get started. So we love that. It's a great way to sort of start doing impact right away. And then you can add on pledge types as you go. At Pledge 1%, we have 4 different pledge types. So equity, as we mentioned, is giving 1% of your company shares to be vested at a later time. Product, 1% of company product or a specific product line. Profit, 1% of company profit or revenue, again, or profit from a specific product sales or specific campaign that gets donated to a cause or causes of your choice. That can also be used to fund employee matching donations as well. And then time, which we mentioned, which is 1% of staff time or employee engagement, employee volunteering. And our Pledge 1% framework is incredibly flexible and allows you to design a giving back program that works best for your employees and your business. So you give what makes sense for your business, and you give it to the causes that you've identified are near and dear to your employees and to your company, and have that sort of brand alignment. There are no fees or reporting requirements to be part of Pledge 1%. We are not a certifying organization. For us, it's all about empowering companies to embed impact into their values from the start. So we're a cheerleading organization. We're a support organization. We want to really inspire and encourage you to make that commitment early in your company's life cycle. And then we have resources and community that's going to help you fulfill that pledge over time. So let's talk a little bit about how to get started with your pledge. It's pretty easy to get started here. We have a brand new website and a brand new pledge form. So it's kind of a wizard type form. It'll walk you through how to get started with your pledge. A couple things you want to have ready when you get ready to take your pledge. One, you want to have identified someone in your organization who's going to be driving those pledge initiatives. So again, just somebody who's sort of taking the lead on social impact in your company. You want to make sure that your founder or CEO knows that you're taking the pledge and has agreed to take the pledge for your company. You'll join a Pledge 1% onboarding welcome call shortly after you take the pledge, and we'll sort of tell you about the resources that are available to you ongoing at Pledge 1%. And we're going to ask you to sort of decide on your pledge type at the time you submit the form. Again, these are not written in stone. They may evolve over time, but what's kind of that first priority for your company out of the gate? And then we'll also make sure that you learn more again about those community and online resources that are available to you to help you fulfill that pledge once you take the pledge. So once you take the pledge, you'll be hearing from us and getting a bunch of resources to get you started. Again, you know, our community platform has a great learning paths where you can access resources and expertise and support as you put your pledge into action and as you consider growing your social impact program. So now I want to just turn it over and see if there's any questions. It looks like Marilo is on the call. Apologies if I didn't get the name quite right. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat, put them in Q&A. We can also open up your mic if you want to go ahead and ask questions out loud. While we wait to see if there's any questions, I'm just curious, Zuora is a very advanced organization in terms of social impact, but I'm curious kind of what advice you might share with leaders who are just starting to embed impact into their teams and how they might get started. It can feel a little bit overwhelming, I think.
Yes, I imagine it. And doing that work really requires buy-in from a number of different people across the organization. And so if buy-in is important to think cross-functionally. And so because of that, we've really been able to create not only just really great events, but things that are robust, that really get to the desires of our employees when they're thinking about social impact and how to engage. And so it feels natural. It doesn't feel like extra. And so if you're able to have that cross-functional thinking in your build and design, the impact will just be maximized.
Awesome. I do not see any other questions, but I'm gonna throw a curveball at you if that's okay.
Okay.
I'm curious because your background is in DE&I and it's been an interesting couple of years, I would say, for DE&I. I'm curious, how do you handle, it feels like if you listen to the news reports, it feels like there's a lot of challenges, right, happening to DE&I in a corporate environment. I'm curious, how have you negotiated that at your company? Are you feeling that at Zuora, or how does it feel in the ecosystem, I guess, to be a DE&I practitioner?
A great question. I think with any any work, any industry, anything that you're in, there are going to be those times where it's new or there's news about it. And I would say for where I am and in my space, our work has always been around our ZEOs, our employees, and how we create culture and connection and belonging. And those things haven't changed. We have really great people here who want to do good, who love the work that they do, but also love the opportunities to connect across our global workforce. And so my work has always been around how do we create a company, a culture, a space that everyone wants to be a part of. And so for me, D&I work is about everyone and making sure that we are hearing all voices and centering all needs and making sure that we aren't leaving anyone behind. And that's just what we've been doing here. And so fortunately, what's happening outside really hasn't affected our ability to really support our workforce.
I love that. I love I'm going to paraphrase, ignore the noise and focus on the people. I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
well, when you focus on people,
Can't go
that's
wrong.
like you can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alrighty, well, it doesn't seem like we have other questions here, but I wanted to encourage folks to follow up with us. Again, this was just a brief introduction to the work of Pledge 1% and one of our leading members. So if you do have questions before you take the pledge, please do reach out, members at pledge1percent.org. We're happy to chat more with you. Natina, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate you jumping on the call, and hope everybody has a terrific rest of your day.
No problem. Have a good day, everyone.